The following is a paid program and does not necessarily reflect the opinions of the staff or management of Visionary Related Entertainment.
Aloha and welcome to Maui Nonprofit Notes. Each week on this show, you'll find us talking story with Maui's nonprofit executive directors and staff to find out how they're working to support those with needs within our community. Maui Nonprofit Notes is generously sponsored by Pacific Source. If you're building or remodeling a home, please stop by Pacific Source's cabinet and appliance showroom located in the Waikapu Bay Shard. I'm Susie Tiemann, Executive Director of Lokahi Pacific, and your host for Maui Nonprofit Notes. During this hour, we share some of the experiences of our nonprofit agencies and just how they are changing lives, changing communities, and creating miracles of hope for those with needs. Today's show, we're going to be talking to the folks from Legal Aid Society and Holly Kakao. Boy, what a combination, huh? Okay, we're going to start off the show talking with Nicole Farelli, who is the, what is your title?
Managing Attorney.
Managing Attorney for the Maui, actually it's Maui, Molokai, and Lanai office,
That's right?
You cover a lot of territory. Now, when we think of legal things, I guess there are courts on the other islands, aren't there?
Yep. Yes,
There
are.
They do have certain days that
Yes,
they
it's
hold sessions.
not like here where it's every day during the week. But
Right.
On Molokai, there's family court every month, and then on Lanai every other month. So that's pretty much what we handle, the family court
I see.
on those islands.
So now, what is the premise behind legal aid?
Well,
I mean, who qualifies? How do they qualify? What?
okay, it's based on income
Okay.
and family size, whatever. And most, it's generally at about 125% of the federal poverty guidelines, but then we do have some grants that allow us to do, to service people at higher incomes. So
Okay.
it just depends grant by grant, and that's all determined through our intake office.
Okay. Now, if one were to go to the legal aid, the official Legal Aid of Society of Hawaii website, which is the main one because you all work as offices of that
That's correct.
or divisions of that. You find a 1-800 number. Is that where people have to call, or can they call your office directly?
No, they need to call the 800 number, which is 800-499-4302. And that's open between 9 and 11:30 and 1 and 3:30 Monday through Friday.
And then that's where, do they do some intake, ask some
Yes,
questions, and find out if they really have something you can help with? Or?
Yes, they'll first they'll get their name and their income and do a conflict check to make sure that it is something that, make sure we can help them. Like if somebody calls for a divorce, but we're already representing the other side, then we have a conflict. So it won't go any farther than that. But if it is something we can assist with, then they'll go through a whole series of questions, determining the legal problem and what the situation is. And then if they do qualify, then it will come over to, it's all done on the computer, and then the intake will come over to our office, and then I'll review it and then assign it to the appropriate person.
I see. So you mentioned divorce is one of the areas that you cover, but there's quite a few areas that you can help people with.
That's correct. We primarily there's 4 areas of law. It's all civil law. So we don't do any criminal cases, but within the civil realm, we do family law, which is the divorces, custodies, guardianships, adoptions, restraining orders, any name changes, things like that. Then we have housing, landlord-tenant, and consumer law, and public benefits. We do a lot of work with helping people who are on general assistance, the state welfare, get onto Social Security, so for federal benefits.
Okay, now if there's one that just kind of jumped out to me here was the aid to the aged, blind, and disabled. Is that something? I mean,
That
for
would be
some
probably
reason, I tend to think they probably don't have the money to go talk to a regular attorney.
That's correct, and then usually that's a lot of helping with Social Security.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, and other areas that they may need help with.
Okay, now does that run into some issues in the employment area? Could or
Yeah, it could, and we do very limited work in the employment area.
I see.
So,
Okay. But it's often those are the folks that are afraid to go someplace, or
Right.
don't
And that's
think
why
so.
they would most likely qualify for Social Security benefits.
I see. Okay, and then senior citizens, a lot of times money's an issue with
Yes.
them, and their things go into maybe tax issues, housing discrimination,
Yes,
whatever
and
kinds of
we
things.
can assist with that. We actually have a grant from the county that helps us help seniors. So 60 and over, and then if it's a grandparent's legal issue regarding raising grandchildren, then it goes down to 55
Oh, I
years,
see.
years old.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and then income is not considered
Oh, okay.
for seniors.
Okay. Interesting. I know that you guys are always busy. You've got such a caseload.
Yeah, we are very busy.
And I see you walking over to the courthouse all the time, cutting through the McDonald's parking lot.
Yes, that's correct.
That's a great shortcut. Now, how many attorneys do you have working here on Maui?
On Maui, we have 3 attorneys, and then we have, 3 paralegals.
Okay.
And then on Molokai, we have a full-time paralegal, and then an assistant, and then on Lanai, we have a half-time paralegal.
I see. Okay. So then when it comes time to actually do if it goes to court,
Yes.
it's going to be one of the 3 attorneys from here that
Yes,
will
and
handle
it's
it.
usually me that I usually go, because since I manage those other offices, I need to touch base with the staff and,
I see.
meet with them.
So
But
you-
if I'm not available, then one of the other attorneys
Yeah.
will go.
But you can do a couple things at the same time on one
Yes.
trip. I
Yes.
got you. Very good. Now, you've been doing this for a while.
I've been at legal aid for 14 years, and I've been an attorney, going on 29 years. It's a long time.
What kind of practice did you have before legal aid?
I worked at the prosecutor's office for quite a while, just 1 year on Maui, but then I was a prosecutor on Saipan, on a little small island in the middle of
Really?
the Pacific, and did that for quite a while.
Interesting.
And I worked a short stint in a large law firm in San Francisco, but that wasn't for me.
Yeah. Somehow I don't see you fitting into a large law firm.
No, I really prefer doing public interest work.
Yeah.
It's very, very rewarding.
Yeah, I would think so. I mean, because I would think that by the time people finally get the nerve to do something about whatever the issue is, and that's maybe it sounds like a backward way of approaching it, but it is. I mean, people let things go really until it's almost too late.
Yeah, that's true. And I think the whole legal system is intimidating to people.
That's true. That's very true. Because the stories you read, it either takes forever to get something accomplished, or I mean, it's not like an arbitration where both sides can win, or at least hardly ever.
Probably, yeah. It's probably correct. That's probably correct. There is a self-help center now at the courthouse that is on Thursdays from 9 to noon, where people can. It's staffed by, we have a legal aid employee, a AmeriCorps member, who works that, and then it's staffed by volunteer attorneys from the community, and so people can go and meet with an attorney and try to get some information on their legal problem. They don't actually give legal advice, but legal information. They can't tell
Okay.
them what they should do or shouldn't do, but
And they're not
and
really
that can be-
enrolling in your program at this point.
right. But it's we all volunteer at it as well, and but it can give people some legal assistance who are not represented by an attorney.
Okay, so if they're teetering with the idea that they need to pursue this, here's the place to go. Maybe
Yeah,
and,
that's a
and
good
get
place
a little
to
more,
start. If
get a little
if we're not able
secure
to help.
feeling that you really do have a problem that needs to be fixed.
Right.
I got you, and that's every Thursday from 9 a.m. to noon.
Yeah, that's right. It's on the first floor of the courthouse, like right when you walk up, right next to the elevators.
Cool, that's great. I imagine that's pretty busy.
Yes, it is. It's quite busy.
You sit and wait. I bet part
yeah,
of that
there's
time.
there's usually a long line outside the door.
So get there at 8:30. I don't know, when does the court open? 8?
8.
No, okay. So it's always interesting to me that, you think in life you wouldn't need an attorney for anything. You think I just go about my own business and do my own thing. But sometimes things step in the way, and not by any of our doing. Or rules get changed, and we're used to the old rules, and all of a sudden we find ourselves in trouble. And it's great to know that there's a place like Legal Aid to turn to, especially because attorneys are expensive.
Yeah, the attorneys are very expensive. Yeah, our biggest area is family law, though, because we get so many custody cases and divorces, and that's something that people don't think about when they get, enter into a relationship, that that they're going to need an attorney, like you were saying. But a lot of marriages end in divorce, or lots of custody battles, and so yeah, we do a lot of that.
And the custody thing is at least the cases I know of have always been interesting. They don't tend to go the way sometimes you think it seems like the natural way, because you don't know the inner workings of that family.
That's right.
And
a lot of times in custody cases, parties are referred to mediation to see if they can try to work it out without having to, actually go to trial. But sometimes, parties are it's too contentious and they don't reach a middle ground. So the judge has to decide.
That's a hard one. I mean, actually deciding who's going to take care or have custody of the kids,
right?
Full custody or split
joint custody,
joint.
yeah.
I guess one of the things that a lot of people think about and are told they need, like power of attorney, in medical situations. I'm thinking we've just gone through a bout with several issues over medical issues.
Yes, we do a lot of powers of attorneys and advanced healthcare directives.
And it's like, wow, it's amazing how many people have not touched that.
Right.
And yet,
because people don't want to have to deal with it or think about it.
That's it. Yeah.
It's the same thing with wills, and yeah.
If we don't think about it, it's not going to happen.
Right.
Well, I got news for you. We're all going to die, and somebody has to know what to do about, basic facts, your stuff.
Right.
Whether it's a lot or a little.
Right.
There has to be
we do simple
disposition.
wills. It's not for people who have property, like
Right.
Land.
You don't
and
get into
houses
trust
and
or
stuff.
anything
Right.
like
We
that.
don't do trust.
Yeah.
And at that point, you really need a private attorney to set up the trust. And
But does everybody need a will?
it's a good idea.
I mean, is there?
Otherwise you have to go through. I don't really know a whole lot about
Okay.
wills and trusts and stuff.
Okay.
But yes, it's a good idea to have a will.
I mean, I hear couples say, well, everything we own together, jointly. And so if something happens to one of us, the other one just gets it.
But then if something happens to, after that, then where does it go? So
Right.
Yeah, it's always a good idea.
Okay. And some people think that's when I turn 70, I'll think about it. And, there's an awful lot of people who don't get to 70. And sometimes it's an accident, emergency situation.
Right.
So, like, matter of fact, this last weekend I was talking with somebody, and they said, we had no life insurance, we had no wills, we had no directives. It was just like fumbling around in the dark, because you're hit with all these decisions, and you think you've talked about it before,
Right.
but at that moment, it's I don't know.
Right. We do a lot of outreach as well to some like the senior centers and stuff. One of our paralegals, Stacy, does that, and she's very good about getting what people need.
Yeah, I just and it got me thinking. I wonder, does anybody, and this may be an unfair question to ask you, but does anybody put out a packet like for, that couples or families should maybe use as kind of a guideline of steps they need to be prepared for?
I'm not sure if there's actually a packet, but there are resources available online and on our website. And there's just recently this the Hawaii Legal Services portal opened up, which is accessible through our website as well as through the judiciary website. And I believe there's another website that you can also get on. But it helps people with like self-help materials and resources for unrepresented litigants, and you can access brochures, videos, like do-it-yourself online court forms, and then they have other online legal resources, which I think that just launched and should be very helpful to people who are not represented by an attorney.
Interesting. And and you look at this and you say, wow, that's a great idea. We should do that. what is there about we should do that? It's like, why don't you just go and log on and get it done?
Right.
But it's like, it's a moment's thought and then it's gone.
Right.
And so if the situation happens, you're stuck again.
Right.
But we, Jack is telling me we got to take a break.
Okay.
Thanks, Jack.
Aloha from Pacific Source, and thank you for your support over the years. Pacific Source has offered more of what builders and homeowners value most in building materials and cabinet design. We've done this by offering superior customer service and products, as well as by designing kitchens and baths that are intelligent and elegant while staying true to your vision and budget. Visit our showroom in Waikapu in central Maui, where we display a variety of cabinets as well as top-name appliances like Sub-Zero, Wolf, Viking, KitchenAid, and more. We display countertops, tile and wood flooring, and several brands of windows and doors, including Fleetwood multi-slides and La Cantina folding doors. Come in and talk to our designers about making your dreams become a reality. From concept to completion, we really believe our attention to detail and superior service are what sets us apart. Let us show you what we mean. We are a Pacific Source at 515 East Oahe Way in the Consolidated Base Yard in Waikapu, just off Waiko Road. Call us at 986-0380. That's 986-0380, or look us up online at packsource.com.
And we are back. This is Maui Nonprofit Notes, the weekly radio show where we talk story with our executive directors and their staff to find out what they're doing to help the folks of Maui be the best they can be, and thus that Maui can be the best it can be. We're talking here in the first half hour with Nicole Forelli, who is the Maui Molokai Lanai Managing Attorney for Legal Aid Society of Hawaii. And we've been talking in general about some of the things that people might have on their plate, that they need some legal advice, legal help. They can call. Now, if they call that 800 number that we talked about earlier, which is 1-800-499-4302, and they talk story with whoever is taking the information from them to see if they qualify for your services, and they think it's something that you guys can help them with, they end up being referred to you. You would give them a call then and either set up an appointment or however you go about the next step. Right. At that point, there's kind of a commitment on their part to following through on this. Would you say that most people do follow through if they've gone that far, or do they still back away and go,
There's a lot of people that back away. I mean, I think that, somebody will call, maybe they got in a fight the night before with their husband or their wife, and then they call and they say they're going to get a divorce, and they go through everything, and then they, make up or whatever. So we have a lot of cases that people never, they don't return our call back. They don't follow through with, if somebody wants to change a custody order, one of the things they have to do is bring in their current custody order for us to review it before we'll determine if we can take the case. And people don't do that, so we'll just close out the cases. And I think people just get they get scared. They just and they don't want to deal with it. I guess there's a whole bunch of reasons, but we do have a lot of people who don't follow through, which is probably good for us because we have so many cases and we're very short-staffed, right, and we have limited resources. Right. So, we can't take everything. We can't take everything for like a full representation. So we have different levels of how we service people. So that we might just talk to them and give them what we call counsel and advice, and kind of lead them in the right direction. We might do some more, maybe help them with the paperwork to do the petition for custody, or help them with the divorce paperwork, but not actually go to court and represent them. And then we have the higher level where we do full representation. So that would be in a case where we really think that the person, kind of needs having an attorney with them at court.
Right. Now that's that's where the hand-holding comes in.
Right.
I mean, because you got to be with them all the way through. Just a thought that crossed my mind: why is the legal system so scary to us? Because what we don't know.
Probably because we don't know, and just the idea of a judge that's sitting up at the front of the courthouse in a the black
the black
robe. I think it just historically it's just been something that people. It can be intimidating.
Right.
You have all these big law books and all the shows on TV and all of that stuff kind of leads to a certain perception of what the law is.
Gotcha. Do you watch Bull by any chance?
Do I watch what?
Bull.
No.
Oh, you guys watch Bull? Nobody?
No.
I've never heard of it.
It's a brand new show. It's the guy that played Tony on NCIS. Did you watch that show?
I've watched some of those.
Yeah. And he's like a consultant, and his job is to find the jury that's going to be favorable to their client.
Right.
And they go through all this electronic stuff and monitoring of the jurors and so on
Okay.
and so forth. And it's quite fascinating, and sometimes you sit there and you wonder, they really do this in high-profile cases?
I think there is a lot of that, and some people believe in it, and some people don't. We don't really do jury trials.
Right.
We're more in family court and district court.
Right. But it's if you watch, like you say, you watch those shows and you do get intimidated.
Right.
And like even in Law and Order, some of the stuff you see, it's like, okay, here's the decision. Decisions aren't always final.
Mm-hmm.
There is an appeal process
That's correct.
that's possible at times, and it can take years to resolve some things.
Yes.
So it's not that when that the decision is made or the judge renders his decision, that's not always it.
Right. And that's good. I mean, that's there's different layers of review and stuff, and so if people aren't happy with the result, they're not necessarily stuck with that.
Right.
And most things you can also revisit, especially like in family law. Like a custody order is never a final order. It's always subject to change if it's in the best interest of the children.
Right. The changing dynamics as far as the parents are concerned. The custody may go to the person who's got more time to spend with somebody, and then later on they find out, well, that wasn't the right answer because time was part of it, but quality time and having the finances to be able to raise the child
Right.
is another question,
Right.
and that maybe wasn't
And
considered.
it also depends on where people live, if they're, live in close proximity, if they're in different states or different islands, and, there's all kinds of considerations.
Right,
But in a custody case, the court does look to what's in the child's best interest.
right.
But that's also, can be rather subjective. What one person thinks is in somebody's best interest is not necessarily what somebody else would think.
And that's why we have court. I gotcha. Okay, so have you got any cases that just stand out in your mind as being the most interesting or the most fascinating to work on? In general.
We just have a lot of very interesting cases. I mean, one case that I thought was quite interesting was the client was a senior and had some disabilities and stuff, and he had an estranged daughter that tried to say that she owned the property that he owned, and tried to get him, through court, through restraining orders and various things to get him kicked out of his own house. But the judge did see what was going on, and he had the correct paperwork, and so that was resolved. But
Wow.
it didn't just happen once; it happened several times. So that was interesting. We also do a lot of work with kids that are in foster custody and child protective services, and that's I find that very rewarding and interesting. So we're either as the parent's attorney, so either mom's or dad's attorney, or the guardian ad litem for the child, so we're the child's interest, child's attorney looking out for their best interests. And those are very interesting cases.
Talking about the senior, you hear a lot more about things like that.
There's a lot of elder abuse, yeah.
Gosh, and sometimes, like you say, it is from their children. I
Uh-huh.
mean, it's siblings.
It's from their family, yeah. A lot of it comes from family. So we work with the Adult Protective Services here on through the county of Maui, and again we have one paralegal who does most of our senior work. But yeah, it's pretty amazing what people will do to each other.
Wow. I mean, you hear about money disappearing out of dad's wallet, or whatever. I know my grandfather was one of those kind of guys that if he didn't have $100 bill in his wallet, he was broke. So he always carried it around. And I remember when he went into the nursing home, one time he always had the wallet with him, and he told them no, they couldn't take the money. It had to be in his wallet. The wallet could be put in the bedside stand. He didn't have to have it on him. But he woke up one morning and it was gone. And I mean, he raised terror throughout that nursing home. Until his daughter came in and she said, "Oh, I took it because I was afraid it would disappear."
Okay.
and he had forgotten about that conversation.
Okay.
You know, but I mean, that was an okay case, but there's got to be a lot of cases where it does just disappear.
Oh yeah, definitely, and it can be from family members or even strangers, and yeah, I mean, I think probably most people have had at least some experience with, you know, their bank account getting, you know, kind of hacked into and stuff like that, and yeah, it's
Scary time.
scary. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, who do you trust?
Yeah. Well, I know, because I got a call from my bank asking if I had made these certain purchases that were all in California the night before. And, you know, I was here in Hawaii, and no, I didn't make them. And I was really lucky that the bank actually caught that these purchases just didn't really seem to make sense. So I know that the banks do kind of monitor some of that stuff, but, you know, they can't check everything.
Right. There was one time when credit card people were saying, if you're going to be traveling, let us know.
Right.
Because
And they still do that.
do they? Mm-hmm. Okay, you can tell I don't travel much.
No, we just had a recent experience with that. So
Yeah, and I think that's really neat that they do that,
Right.
because, yeah, I mean, your card could be used anywhere, anytime, and paying the price for like some of these credit card monitoring systems that we see advertisements for. It's like, is it worth it? I don't know.
I don't know.
Can they find out, and can they get it back, and can they clean up your credit, because that's what gets dinged if it doesn't get caught
Right.
in time. Oh, all kinds of issues we could talk about. But we're so glad that, Nicole, that you and your staff are there to help folks, so that money does not become the object or the issue in trying to get a legal issue resolved.
Right, and that's, you know, and with, you know, like I said, that we work with mostly low income people here, and you know, they're the ones that really do need the assistance, since attorneys do charge an awful lot per hour.
And you're there to help level the playing field for
Right.
the average person that has an injustice done to them or by them, even maybe, to make the legal system a little less intimidating.
That's correct.
I gotcha. Thanks, Nicole, for being with us, and keep up the good work.
Thank you.
We appreciate it. Okay, we're going to shift gears now and talk to the folks from Holly Cow Cow. It's been a little while since we've talked to you folks, maybe since the last big fundraiser.
I think so.
And we usually get you in here a couple times a year, because we do something with when you do your big event at Mulligan's, and then usually before Christmas or Thanksgiving, when you have the big dinners that, I mean, every dinner seems to me like a big dinner when you have 80 or 100 people there every night to serve. And so we've got Dr. Mary Trotto,
Yep.
Trotto, and Nick Safko from Holly Cow Cow to talk about what's happening over there. And you've got a big event coming up Sunday.
Yeah, on Sunday we're going to be hosting our 18th annual benefit auction, dinner, entertainment, the whole works, down at the Fairmont Kealani in Wailea.
Cool. Are there still tickets available?
There are still tickets available. Plenty of room for attendees.
And how do we get tickets? Quick.
Oh, easily. Just call 875-8754.
I love that number.
And somebody will tell you what you need to do and give a credit card. We take checks, cash, any way you want to pay. We'll take pennies even.
Or you can even stop by our office at 25 West Lapoa Street down in Kihei and get your tickets right there on the spot.
Okay, now that's where St. Teresa's Church is?
Yeah, correct. That's on the St. Teresa campus.
Okay.
We have
Cool.
a separate building,
Oh, you do
separate
now?
office. And where the kitchen is and we're next door, we have our own Holly Cow Cow office.
Oh, cool.
Right. Because we're
Wow.
an independent 501c3 charity.
Oh, you are totally
Yeah.
totally separate now.
Yeah,
That's great. How long have you been doing this, Holly Cow Cow?
forever.
Forever.
No, this is our 26th year. Remember last year we had the big 25th
25th?
anniversary.
Yeah, that's right.
And we had some special things going on. And this year, well, it's 26 years, but you know we do have a great silent auction. If anyone wants some bargains, just come to Kealani on Sunday, because we have over 300 items on the silent auction alone. And then we have these wonderful packages for the live auction that people are going to be amazed when they see some of the things on the live auction.
I was looking over the list, and it's like, whoa. Between your getaway packages and your staycations, and this estate and garden tour and honey tasting at Lona Ridge. Lona Ridge has been in the news while she's been getting her permits and things.
Right.
And people just keep looking up at the side of the mountain and seeing that property up there, and they wonder what's really up there.
But we're going to have it for a luncheon for 10 people, which is going to be an Italian luncheon served by Chef Phil from the Fabiani's. And it's going to include a limousine bus that's going to take them up to the ridge, and then they'll have the honey tasting and the tour and the luncheon. And the best part is the luncheon's going to be served by Father Terry, who is the executive director of Holly Cow, and Joe Mitchell, who is a very strong supporter. So the two men will serve the luncheon.
Wow.
So and that's a great package.
Yeah, it is. Now, that's for 10 people.
Exactly,
Right?
10
Yeah.
people.
And you've got some artwork that's just absolutely astounding.
It's amazing what people will donate, and they don't have money, or they'll be moving off island, or they just want to give you something. And we have gotten a lot of original art pieces that, and some things that are. We even had a piece of work recently donated by one of our homeless individuals who painted this beautiful painting. We framed it, and it's going to be on the auction. So,
wow.
Yeah, he just came in with it, and he's an artist, but for whatever reason, he's also homeless.
He's down and out right now. Wow.
And he understands the whole circle, that he donates a painting, it helps keep the program afloat, and he continues getting meals.
Right. Wow, what a thing. And there's the bronze sculpture, the humpbacks. Those are intriguing.
The first breath is the breaching whale with the little baby on its nose, and we were told by the Weiland Galleries that only 5 of them were made by Weiland, and they know where the other 4 who are, and they know the 5th one was on this island. So the person just, like Nick said, it weighs a ton. So I think he was moving off island, and he just thought it would be easier to donate it than ship it back.
Wow.
So that's what he did.
Oh, now some of these you do have a minimum bid on because they are so expensive.
Yes.
And like for that, it's a minimum bid of $10,000,
Right.
which is
Still a fraction of what
it's a fraction.
valued
Yeah,
as,
it's less than a third of what the value was
It's
verified
valued
at.
at $32,000.
I think the one that intrigues me is the Weiland original sign painting Undersea Island. You say it's 6 feet long?
It's about, I think the dimensions are close to 6 feet
Yeah.
long, and maybe about 3 or 4 feet wide. It's koa wood framed. It's original oil, and it's quite expensive.
Wow.
Yeah, that one's valued at $80,000, and I think our minimum bid for it at the auction is $15,000.
Yeah. What a find that would be for someone.
Well, it'd be a fine for them. See, it's a two-way street. It's a fine for them. They would get a tremendous piece of art for a fraction of its cost. But for Holly Cow, that would be a major donation
Right.
for us. And what we use this fundraiser to raise close to 40. We'd like it to be 50, but we haven't gotten that goal yet. But at least 40% of the budget.
This could be the year.
Yeah, maybe.
Hopefully it'll be the year.
We're hoping.
You know, I look at something like that and I go, wow, I don't have a wall long enough to put something like that up on because I've got all windows. You know, I mean, we all have our houses so we can enjoy the views from wherever we are. I happen to be up country, and I want to see everything everywhere. And then I see this, and I have a friend who does artwork as well, and I go, oh, I love that. She says, yeah, but where would you put it? And I mean, okay, I give.
Well, that's the thing. The person needs to have the room or the
Right.
space and has to
To
fit into their
showcase that.
decor. Right.
Yeah, that's fabulous.
And
So-
that little picture that you're looking at right now just doesn't even do it justice.
No, I'm sure. I'm sure the details of the fish
Oh, yeah.
in there are fabulous as well. Then there was a tapestry that I saw on your website too, which is 37 inches tall, 41 inches wide, which is awesome. And now this is a little lesser in value, but it's an extremely exciting piece to me.
Is that the one by Turbish?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. So you just, I mean, you name it, you've got it.
We have in the silent auction. We have someone donated a lovely picture of Maui in his glory at the top of the mountain.
Oh, the god.
Yeah. Yes.
Ah,
the god.
wow.
It's a really interesting picture.
Interesting. So you really have to go to this event
Yeah.
and see what's there.
You don't want to miss this
Yeah.
one.
Right.
One of my favorite pieces in the silent auction is another random piece that we just acquired somewhere along the way, a framed feather bracelet lei, handmade, gorgeous, in a relief box.
It's a Cowood box.
Cowood
Yeah.
box. It's just a beautiful piece.
Wow. So now the event starts at,
3:00.
and as people can come and start looking around at these items
Right. Dinner is at 5. But
at 5. So they've got 2 hours of socializing and
Social,
looking
right.
at the auction items. That's terrific. We got to take a short break again, but we'll be right back with the folks from Holly Cow.
Aloha from Pacific Source, and thank you for your support over the years. Pacific Source has offered more of what builders and homeowners value most in building materials and cabinet design. We've done this by offering superior customer service and products, as well as by designing kitchens and baths that are intelligent and elegant while staying true to your vision and budget. Visit our showroom in Waikapu in central Maui, where we display a variety of cabinets as well as top-name appliances like Sub-Zero, Wolf, Viking, KitchenAid, and more. We display countertops, tile and wood flooring, and several brands of windows and doors, including Fleetwood multi-slides and La Cantina folding doors. Come in and talk to our designers about making your dreams become a reality. From concept to completion, we really believe our attention to detail and superior service are what sets us apart. Let us show you what we mean. We are a Pacific Source at 515 East Oahe Way in the Consolidated Base Yard in Waikapu, just off Waiko Road. Call us at 986-0380. That's 986-0380, or look us up online at packsource.com.
And we are back. This is Maui Nonprofit Notes, the weekly radio show where we talk story with our member agencies about what is happening in their world, which is our world and your world out there. We're talking about the auction at their fundraiser this coming Sunday. We've been talking about some of the high-end items, but also for those who are looking for the little less expensive things. You've got gift certificates for $25 worth of dinner or tacos or whatever as well. So there's something in every price range.
Oh, definitely. We have a woman who has been at the swap meet for many years, and she makes these lovely little trolley dresses for different, like 2, 3, 4-year, 5-year-olds, up to maybe 10. And she always donates a handful of these dresses, and they're just so adorable. And they always go, because somebody's grandchild always is going to wear a twirly dress this year.
Cool.
So, yeah, those kinds of things are kind of small items, but they're very popular and
Right.
get a lot of bids on them. So people will then kind
I'll
of go
bet.
crazy on the bidding.
I'll bet.
Yeah.
That's the fun of it, is seeing how many people put their name down and watching the folks, just as when you start announcing that it's about to close, and they go back over and they see where they are. And
Hovering.
yeah. How do I make sure I get the last line, and I'm able to get these items? But it sounds like you've got a lot of people who are repeat donors.
Oh, pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
I would say at least 70% of the items we have donated in the past many, many times.
So you've got a lot of serious supporters out there for what you do.
Oh, for sure.
I mean,
and once they realize that, every single day, the homeless are going to get someone to come to their door and give them a hot meal and talk to them and see how they're doing. And sometimes the driver has to report that maybe somebody has to intervene. Maybe the person doesn't look that good or something's going on. So at least there's some kind of contact every single day. And unlike some services, we're 7 days a week.
Yeah.
So those that are homebound, the elderly, they rely on seeing that person. They
Right.
get to know them. It's like a personal relationship. It's like another person, auntie, and somebody in their family that's coming to visit.
Right.
Basically, and so that's important. And as we see the aging of America, we're seeing an increase in the homebound.
Right.
And on that note, as the population is aging, we're also looking for new supporters for the program. Supporters who can donate goods and services, who can just donate their time as a volunteer in the kitchen and as drivers. And coming down to this event on Sunday is a good way to just see what we do, how we do it, the impact that we make on the community, and also you might even be able to walk away with a few deals from our silent auction.
Right. Now, I know in shows past we've talked about when you have been looking specifically for drivers. There was one time when you really had a lot of drivers that you needed because you try to keep their routes short so that the average person can do it. It doesn't become a burden because it is every day.
Yeah.
And
but the driver only is once a week.
Once a week.
That particular driver, that particular route, he only does it once a week. It takes about an hour. It's really not a long time.
Right.
But right now, you mention it, is when we have the need, because a lot of our snowbirds, a lot of our Canadians and our Washingtonians who are drivers are now home. And so now we rely on the local Maui community to step up to be drivers.
What time of day are you talking about for the dinner hour?
From 4 to 5.
So they're delivering from 4 to 5.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So and because you have, I think earlier we talked and it was like something like 80 to 100 people who are homebound.
Yeah, correct.
That's 20 drivers. I mean, 40 to 20. 40 to 20. Hello. 5,
7
20.
times 7.
7 times 7,
42.
49.
49
40.
drivers, according to my math.
Okay. I'll take you on, Nick.
And then we have a whole list of substitute drivers who can't do it every time, but if someone's going on vacation or sick or whatever, they call the substitutes and they step up and come.
I got you.
Yeah.
Okay. So, and like you say, it's the people, the homebound people, they count on these folks coming by. And also, like you said, sometimes they'll see something that makes them wonder if everything's okay for this person and maybe get the help they need, but haven't brought themselves to admit they need help.
Yeah. And for most of our clients, especially with the homebound, Holly Cow Cow is the only point of contact they have, on a regular basis. A lot of them, their families aren't here in Maui, or they're kind of abandoned by their families who might live locally or on the mainland or somewhere else in the world. And so they look forward to seeing Holly Cow Cow
Right.
on a daily basis.
Now, if somebody, say, has had major surgery or something and they're homebound because they can't be driving yet, can they sign into this service for a short period of time?
Yes, we have
Yeah.
a lot of people that do temporary.
Okay.
And and sometimes they'll call us and they'll say, I have to go to the hospital. So we'll suspend them for a while.
Okay.
And they tell them as soon as you come back, just give us a call, and then they go back on the route.
I see.
So we have both. We have people who are temporarily need services because they just got out of the hospital, and we have people who go into the hospital. They have to have delayed service until they come back.
I see. Okay, so that's really good.
And we get our homebound clients mostly through referrals from physicians, social workers, hospitals before they're released. So it's not just a call up, ask for a meal to be delivered. We do like to, know that there's a legitimate need for it. Home visits are required before meal service starts. And then they're eligible to receive homebound meal
Right.
deliveries indefinitely.
That's great.
The Office of the Aging does a lot of referrals.
Referrals,
to
I
us.
bet, yeah. Now, I know the other thing that I find so fascinating about what you do is that you don't ask any questions of the people who come at 5 o'clock to have dinner.
No question is
At-
asked.
at your
Anyone
place.
who wants to walk up to the window, who's hungry, they're welcome to a meal.
Right. I think that is so great because there's a loneliness factor, perhaps, that's being served by these dinners for some people, which is maybe even more important than the idea that they couldn't afford to eat.
Well, it's a very social event. We have a number of elderly that can still drive. They're not homebound, but they're on limited incomes, so they will come. And this way, they sit together and they have a conversation. They talk story, and they have their dinner, and therefore they can spend their money on the electric bill and those other kinds of things that they have.
Right.
So we have that population. We have some families that come at the end of the month when it's It's short of
Oh,
their,
right,
you know,
when they're out of
paying their
their
bills
food
and
stamps and
everything.
so forth.
And we have young men that come who don't know how to cook, but they're working, and you know it's expensive to eat out on a regular basis. So
Right.
periodically they'll come and get a hot meal, and they don't have to save their money, you know, because they don't know how to cook yet. And so it's a really, and they all sit
Interesting.
together, and it's a really nice way. And when the homeless come, also they are socialized with that group, and they talk to people, and I think that's very important for them.
It is, yeah. And dinner is served every night at what
Well,
time?
on the weekdays it's served at 5 to 6,
Okay,
and on the weekends it's served from 4:30 to 5:30.
I see. Okay,
And then along with the homebound meal delivery and the on-site meal service, we also are in cooperation with another church in North Kihei that distributes food supplies to families, folks that can afford to prepare their own meals. They just can't afford to purchase the resources needed to make a meal on a regular basis. So we give a lot of our boxed goods and hygiene supplies to Kealaho Church up in North Kihei, where it's distributed every Friday.
interesting. Wow, you guys are just right there.
It's a lot. There's
That's-
a lot of need. Unfortunately, on this island, there's a lot of need.
Yeah.
You know.
What? And you're the only ones that do this every day.
Yeah,
Aren't you?
365 days
Well,
a year.
I believe Kaunoa does Meals on Wheels.
Okay.
I believe they do it 5 days a week,
Okay.
and they mostly serve like Kaului, Wailuku, Haiku area, because if it's in the Kihei, McKenna, Wailea area, they'll refer it to us.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay. So
But
now
we
I-
don't have an income requirement.
right, and I
home
know
out.
that at one time I was talking with somebody and they say they stopped in like 2 or 3 nights a week. They go home by bus from their work, and evidently there's a bus stop close by.
Yes.
And they'll stop in and have dinner and be able to socialize with some people before they go home. A single person who works but has a low income job, and says it makes all the difference in the world to them. And I think on some occasions they volunteered to help.
Yeah, we've
serve
seen
others.
that a lot too. Some of the folks who eat there on site have also helped out volunteering in the kitchen, preparing, serving meals.
Right. And
But
I
the people that come to the kitchen to eat, they can come from all over the island. Especially the working poor who can, get transportation down there or who have a bus pass. But as far as the homebound, we just stick to South Kihei.
right.
Or South Maui, from North Kihei down to McKenna.
I see. Well, yeah, it'd be hard to serve much further than that.
Especially if we want to keep the meals warm.
Right. Right.
Although we get volunteers from Pukolani and Kula and Wailuku, and they come from all over to come, and they'll drive 40 minutes to come and volunteer.
That's
at the
great.
kitchen.
That's
Yeah.
great. Well, it's such an important service that you have, and like you say, 26 years.
Unfortunately, we're still, as Father Terry says, unfortunately, we're still in business.
Unfortunately, that's true. That's true. So, well, it's kind of like all of us nonprofits. We say, our job is to put ourselves out of business.
Yeah.
But I don't think that's ever going to happen to any of us. It's as hard as we try and as much as we do, we will always have people with needs. And certainly food is one of the basics, just for health, if nothing else. The other thing I think that we've talked about from time to time is how people who have been down and out have been coming to your place, and then when things improve for them, they start donating in time, money, etc. And that's also a sign that you've got a really good program going, because they understand the value of it and keeping it moving.
And they come back. Sometimes they'll come back and they'll have gone back to school, or they have this great job, and so it's nice to see that they've kind of got themselves back on the right track.
Yeah.
And many of our homebound donate back to the program. If they have some means, they will donate
okay.
back to the program.
Right, it's just that they're
Especially-
homebound.
Especially this time of year, we get donations from them or their families.
Right.
They will donate in Thanksgiving for what they've got. Their parents have gotten from the program.
Interesting, yeah. And now you get some of your food from the food bank, right? That
Yes.
you prepare.
Yeah, on a weekly basis, we'll get an entire van full or more from the food bank. Everything
Wow.
from produce, dairy, to meats and other kinds of canned goods.
Now, do some of the grocery stores and people like that donate anything from time? I know they do, like for
Safeway.
Thanksgiving and so forth.
Safeway donates. We pick up 3 days a week. We
Oh,
get
really?
all our breads and all our cakes and all our desserts from Safeway.
Wow.
So that when the children come, there's always desserts for them, and the homebound love their desserts, so they're able to give everyone a dessert from. And Safeway is very generous to us.
Also Costco. This past Thanksgiving, Costco donated dozens and dozens of pies for our Thanksgiving meal. This past Thanksgiving, just like every other year, we've had a meal service for our clients, the homebound and our on-site clients inside the parish hall of St. Teresa Church. We served them. We had a team of volunteers to serve them, and it was a really nice afternoon.
Wow, that's great. You know, you guys all do such neat stuff. I mean, from the legal side to the feeding side. We're so blessed to have all this happening here, and that it can continue, and that people pitch in and help and are thankful for what is being given to them. I got to call this show to an end here. I don't believe it. You know, I got to say one more time about your big fundraiser at the Fairmont Kealani in Wailea on Sunday, 3 to 8 p.m. Give them a call at 875-8754. Holly Cow Cow, it's your 26th annual fundraiser, and I mean the auction items are fabulous. And for the Legal Aid Society, give a call to the 1-800 number. That's 499-4302. And tell them what your issues are and get registered. And if you qualify for their program, you'll be sent over here to talk to. I mean, if you're on Maui, Molokai Island, you'll be talking with Nicole Forelli and her staff about how they can help you. Thank you both for being here today.
Thank you
All right,
for
thank
having
you.
us.
Appreciate it. Maui Nonprofit Notes is sponsored as a community service by Pacific Source, the builder's choice. Give Paul and his staff a call at 986-0380 or stop by their showroom in the Waikapu Bayshard on East Oahe Way to see how they can help you with your building project. The Maui Nonprofit Directors Association's mission is to provide personal and professional support to nonprofit executive directors, their organizations, and the community of Maui. We want to thank everybody for tuning in. Don't forget to join us again next week right here, same time, same place. KAOI Radio, 1110 AM, 96.7 FM, 96.5 FM on the west side, and 98.7 upcountry. I just got the new one. Woo, we can hear you everywhere. We'll feature 2 more member agencies next week. I'm Susie Tiemann, Executive Director of Lokahi Pacific, and your host for Maui Nonprofit Notes. Thanks for joining us today. Have a great week, everyone. Aloha.